Frost Gable.
What up?
Yo. All right, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is Fly In Formation, and this is a spin-off show from my mix show. I do a weekly mix show called After the Smoke is Clear, or at Sick Radio, where I play 100% Canadian hip-hop. And when I say 100% Canadian hip-hop, like, yeah, some Americans sneak in there, but there's at least one Canadian on every track. And, you know, this today is a little bit of a example of that this is still Canadian content. This is still hip-hop from Canada, but it's also collaboration with, hip-hop from New York. So today, with no further ado, Fly In Formation, episode 138. I've got Tone Chop and Frost Gamble joining me today. Thanks, guys. How you doing?
Peace. What's good, Davis?
Good. How about yourself, man? Peace.
Hey. Good to see you guys both. Appreciate you coming through for this. I oftentimes I like to start these things just when I have two guests on and they know each other better than I know either of them. I'll ask guests to introduce their homie. So could you guys introduce each other just for people who might not know you on the show?
Hell yeah. I'll go first. This is Tone Chop, legendary elite MC from Binghamton, New York, who has spent the last 35 years faithfully creating art within our culture and burning MCs.
Beautiful.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. And that is Frost Gamble, not Frost Gable. That's Frost Gamble. And he's the best producer around, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. I'm just saying that because that's really the way I feel. And I got a folder full of beats to prove it. So, you know what I mean? Like, he knows just what I like. He knows, you know what I'm saying? We know each other so well. He knows, you know, if he makes something out of the ordinary, like, this might not be for you, but I know this one is for you. You know what I mean? And then even some of the ones that he might not think is for me, it might be for me anyway. So, yeah, he's the best producer around. That's Frost Gamble.
Right on. So,
to me, that's like I said, that's my opinion. And I like a lot of producers too, don't get me wrong, but he's my favorite.
Yeah, of course. You know, around here, music, I always am talking about how music is subjective, not objective, and it all comes down to personal preference. And, you know, once people reach a certain level of mastery, to me, they've mastered their style. That's what they set out to do, obviously. So, I give props to all sorts of people and try not to choose like a best, but
the way he feels about me as an MC, that's the way I feel about him as a producer.
Hey, yeah, that's what you need. That's how you make a good team. So Frost, it's been a while since I had you on. I think maybe a couple years now, even. But you know, I'm happy to have you both back on. I apologize if I ask some of the same kinds of questions here. Like I think probably last time we talked about how you guys met and that type of thing, but maybe I'll point the question to Tone and ask for his version of the story of how you guys, know each other and decided to link up.
Well, we was like he was an MC and I was an MC, and it was kind of like a rivalry, It wasn't like it was just MC stuff, not like personal beef or nothing that nobody's gonna get hurt or anything.
Yeah.
He took shots at me, I took shots at him, and then he just decided that, I was the better of the two. And then he just decided to continue with the beats. And then we just started working together after that. And then here we go, 35 years in the mix. And I used to make mixtapes. I got like 30 something before me and him made it as Tone Chop and Frost Gamble together as a team. But he was always part of everything that I did. So, I used to rap on a lot of my beats too. A lot of people might not know, but I make beats too, so which he always gives me props on my beats too, so I appreciate that. I don't feel like I'm as dope as him, but I do have some joints. But I used to rap over a lot of my beats, but he was always a part. So, I had like several series that I was doing on my own, producing and putting them out as my own on CD or whatever, and I did that for years in the city where I'm from. And so he was always a part. So we just decided to bring everything together as a whole. And we did that because his thing was, my thing was like, in the beginning, I was rapping, 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 rapping. I was always a dope MC and rapping, you know what I'm saying? But when we brought it together, it gave me time to concentrate on songwriting and getting better at that. So, like with just him focusing on the beats and me focusing on the songs, not only the beats, maybe mixes, masters, everything too as well. So, and he's gotten better with that over the years too. So not only is he a dope producer, he's a dope engineer too. He does, people hit him up for mixes and stuff like that too, and he does that all as well. So, he's not only a producer, he's an engineer as well, which he mastered that too, as far as I'm concerned too.
Yeah.
So everything you hear is mixed and mastered by him too as well.
Yeah, it's funny. You say a lot of people don't know that you used to make beats or that you still do make beats because, to me,
Right.
when I first saw your guys' name as a duo, I assumed Frost Gamble would be the MC and Tone Chop would be the person making the beats. Just I guess because it has chop in the title there, it sounds like you're chopping up beats
Right.
or something.
Yeah.
But I quickly figured out
The
that I
chop
was
is-
mistaken. Yeah.
The chop is actually like I got the name. It was Kung Fu movie I watched years ago when I was younger. The dude's name was Tong Chop, Tong. So I just was like, tone. I put the tone with it. But this dude was nice. You know what I'm saying? Like just like I am with the beats and the rhymes both. Like you chopping. So I chop both. Like what I'm saying, samples, breaks, whatever, and then chopping C's too. Like that's my specialty. So I just the E, took the G off and put the E in there, and then it's tone chop.
Yeah.
So I had a few other names before that one.
Hey.
That's how tone chop came.
Makes sense, man. So you mentioned, well, and actually I heard on the project there, I think on the first track, you're talking about you guys used to link up and make music together kind of every week in the basement. I think the bar or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I guess talk about that process compared to the process that you guys use now, where I imagine there's a lot of file sharing and solo sessions.
Yeah.
I would guess, just being so far
Right.
apart.
Well, we used to do everything together. We had like a rack sampler, a Kai joint. So it was like definitely the beats was different, but still fire though. We still got some of those joints from the '90s and all that too. And so we 4-track. And, you know what I'm saying? So you only really had 4 tracks. So like I was like really dope at freestyling back then too. So some joints it'd be just go in the basement, put a beat on, and freestyle for half an hour. Whatever, like you were saying. But we still got songs from back then. But these days it's just like I got his folder, all the beats that he makes, he sends them to me, and then I pick whatever I go through them, save a lot on my phone or whatever, and then whatever I'm doing, Bluetooth, whatever, I go through and be like, just pick something out, whatever the vibe might be, because like I said, it's tons, and I got them all. So he sends people my way all the time. If somebody asks him for beats, they be like, "Oh, you got to hit up Chop because he got all my beats."
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So, but if they're not worthy though,
quick to tell them. Yeah.
that's how Cannon. That's how he got involved with Cannon because he was he's worked with other people in the past too, not just me, but
Yeah.
Crooked Eye, a bunch of other MCs too. That's dope. But Cannon is from Ithaca, and he was young at the time, and I felt like that was somebody that would fit what he was doing. I got Cannon's got some joints in the stash too, like over my beats too, because I was one of the first ones he hollered at. He wanted some boom bap beats or whatever, so he hollered at me. So I shot him some beats. They never came out though for some reason. Cannon was the deal, man. But but I connected him and Frost together, and then they worked together, and they got a couple albums, and then other joints too as well. But I mean, Cannon's an animal, so he's like, I
Yeah.
call him the young goat because to me, I mean, he's younger than I am. First of all, I don't feel like in upstate New York there's too many that's really on his level. You know what I'm saying? He records constantly, and I hear they just got the studio back in his crib too, which is really a problem.
Oh, damn.
He records constantly.
It's about to
So,
get busy. Yeah.
I'm a serious thinker, man, so it takes me a long time sometimes to create what I create, but he's an animal. But he's young too. When I was that age too, I was making a gazillion tracks too, you know what I'm saying? But now now the quantity over quality. I mean, the quality over quantity is more, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but we don't scrap nothing though. Everything, if I lay something it's not up to par. Well, he always says it's up to par, but if I feel like it's not up to par, then I get it to where I need to get it beat. But you know what I'm saying? It's definitely quality over quantity now. You know what I'm saying? So, but we don't scrap anything. Like if I set out to do something, and a lot of people they go through 100 songs, and then so many of them they keep, other ones they scrap. We don't scrap anything. And that's a lot of people. That's
Yeah.
a lot of things that's something that people really don't know because we don't scrap anything. Everything that we record, we keep.
So I've talked to a lot of MC and producer combos about kind of this element, but a lot of guys have told me that the deeper the relationship gets between the MC and producer, the more likely that the producer might actually speak up and voice some opinions to say, let's change this. Does that not happen between you two even after 35 years?
As far as I'll tell you.
Yeah.
We have an incredible chemistry. Like a lot of times things are unspoken. We're in the same lane mentally when it comes to music in a lot of ways, and that ties into both things we're just talking about. So for creating music, like Chop very much is a perfectionist. Like he practices his delivery until it's perfect before he records it. And literally, if one syllable is off, if we're listening back to a joint, he's like, damn, that syllable was supposed to fall millisecond here, not there. Like he's not going to let me edit that. He's going to go back in the booth and he's going to lay it down perfectly, just to change that 1 second to a 3-minute recording. We do that.
Will you punch in, Tone? Sorry to cut you off there,
No, go
Frost,
ahead.
but will you punch in for those little things? Or
I'm a big dude. I'm a big dude. And I don't punch it.
yeah,
I do not punch it.
full one takes. Okay.
And that
Yo,
chemistry
man.
like extends like to all of us. So like he was talking about Cannon, how he connected me with Cannon. That's because like Chop is like my A&R. So when folks reach out and they're like, "Yo, we should work," I'm like, "All right, talk to Chop. Chop's got every single beat I've ever made. He'll hook you up. You can come to the studio because most of the cats that reach out to me actually are from the the New York region because that's kind of where my sound leans.
Sure.
But then I don't have to like make a bad decision because I have like this tendency to see good in people, and sometimes you see more potential in people than they see in themselves, and I end up wasting my time. And Chop like cuts right through that because, like we said, there's a talent component, but talent gets developed over time. Talent is through your dedication to the craft, you develop that over time. It's actually more about character, and Chop will kind of cut through the chase and just be like, nah, this kid ain't gonna put the work in, don't waste your time. And so he's been super helpful to me in that regard. Like over the last few years, it saved me all kinds of headaches. And like you said, he linked me with Canon. We did great work together, and that's a beautiful thing. But just Chop and I know each other so well, he'll just know right away, nah, this kid ain't for you.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to spot in MCs sometimes, but I think especially with the way that hip hop is, where people are sometimes living pretty erratic lives, it's sometimes tough to tell with, people who are 20 something coming into it. Like, is this guy really going to stick this out, or like how dedicated to the craft does this person seem? And yeah, that's something I ask, when I'm listening to music week by week, trying to make my picks for what to play on the show, is like, is this a person who's really going to be around? Did you guys know your entire lives that you'd be dedicated to this shit, lifelong?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention, here's one thing that I want to mention too. Me and Frost are close, so you know the term build and destroy, right? We built everything together, but he also knows everything about me, personal stuff and everything. So he really could destroy me probably if he wanted to too, even though I know he wouldn't do it. But everything we built together, he could, we could destroy each other too. But we choose not to do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, when I do a song, I send him the song, the title of the beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I might have an idea for the title, it doesn't matter. He does the title, everything, the song sequences for every project we do, all that. That's all him. I really just solely concentrate on the writing and recording itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I send him everything dry, and then he adds the spices to everything. Like, people don't know, like, it's just don't. It's just like if you're getting a steak is cool, but if you ain't got no seasoning on it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
That's true.
and then if it's very seldom do I be like, I don't really like that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But he usually seasons up everything very well. So, like, it's really just like getting a basic steak.
Yeah.
That's what he gets from me. He just gets the raw steak. But once you cook it, you know what I'm saying? There's, it's like getting a cooked steak with no seasoning on it. You know what I'm saying? So he does all the extra stuff. So, like I said, when we came together, that was the idea. So I could just concentrate on that.
Yeah, that element really brings, a beat maker to the elevated position of like producer. I think like when
Right.
that level of input is allowed, because I think a lot of the time, it's sent off to the MC, and then the MC does their thing, and then it's sent off to a mix, and it never really gets back into the producer's hands creatively.
Right. And as close as we are, it gives me the opportunity. Like, sometimes I'll hear a sample and I'll go, ooh, I could flip that because it fits this mood that Chop's in this week. Or like if there's something heavy going on in his life that he might want to get off his chest, I go, ooh, that's that vibe. So knowing each other as well as we do, it really makes it easy to create, because we know what's going on with each other. Yeah,
that's huge to be able to kind of get into your MC's headspace a little bit like that and relate some of the emotions that way, man. Tone, I wanted to ask you, dude, living in, upstate New York, like you're someplace just outside of actual New York City, right? Is that?
Yeah. 2 hours away, yeah.
Okay.
New York, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, being so close to the birthplace and kind of mecca of hip hop that's so famous for the New York boom bap sound that you guys, are in that lane. Do you get shit from guys around you, like other Americans, for like, oh, what are you working with this Canadian producer for?
No.
rather than working with other New York guys?
And if I did, it wouldn't matter anyway.
Hey.
Because, if you disrespect him, then you disrespect me at the same time. And Frost will tell you, you know what I mean? Like, me and him is brothers, bro. Like, we're friends. Like, before all this, we're friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brothers. So it's not. It's different.
People will try to find.
We don't even argue. I could probably count, the disagreements and stuff we had in the past, and it's not many.
Yeah.
Like, so we have a brotherhood, a friendship that extends almost 40 years. You know what I mean? So, I trust him. I trust him more than most. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of many people that I do trust more than him, and that's why everything with the music is in his hands, except for the writing and recording. I said he does everything. So, I gotta give it up to him. Like I said, he's not just a producer, he's an engineer too. He's better than a lot of engineers too. Because I had people record stuff and him mixing for him and all that. Like I said, like, me, I'm different. So, he does everything for me. But, somebody else that wants something mixed, it's a feat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So me and him is almost 40 years, going on 40 years together making music. So, I'm not no one
I
chick.
feel bad for other producers sometimes because they like Chop is such an incredible MC. I understand why people want to work with him, and so they'll hit Chop up, and oh, I got this beat pack for you. He's like, I don't need that. Like that's what the song "No We Don't" was about, where it's like we're in this weird place where it's like it's no disrespect, like we really like that's dope that you're rhyming, that's dope that you're making beats. We want you to have success, but we're not out here like just commoditized, like desperately looking for people to work with. We're doing this for us by us. So you really gotta, for us to collaborate with you, you've really gotta fit in that way. Like we've got to have some genuine kinship because we're not just like, yo, I got an open verse. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. So did you guys used to live both in upstate New York, or where did you know each other from?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was born and raised in the region. This is in the late '80s. There was a local radio station called WUCI. Shout out to the Busy Boys. It was their show called Binghamton Hip Hop Explosion, and they would have this weekly show where if your demo tape was of a sufficient quality, they'd play it on the air. And, that's how Chop and I first heard each other. So we were both featured on the radio. Chop was rhyming over this 45 King break beat. And I was like, yo, like his voice, his cadence, like he was just so smooth, natural, and authentic on the beat. So the first 3 seconds I heard him, I knew what was up. And that would be the first way he heard me too. I wasn't as skilled as an MC, but I was making my own beats right out the gate. And so that's how we kind of connected early on was, I was making beats and he was rhyming and I kept rhyming for a little while, but over time I just realized, man, this is the secret sauce, me making the beats, him rhyming. And that's the basis we moved forward. And I left Binghamton, I left New York in 98 and I lived in Minneapolis, I lived in Kentucky, I lived in Kansas City. I traveled all across the US for work and different things. And I landed in Winnipeg, where my wife is from, in 2006. So I've been here for 20 years. I'm a proud Canadian. I absolutely love it here. It's a great time to be here. But Chop and I have always been in touch. We've never really lost a step when it came to music.
Yeah, beautiful. So, doing a show that's so focused on Canadian hip hop specifically, I've got to ask, can you guys kind of take yourself back to that era when you were both living in New York, and did you have an impression of Canadian hip hop at all? Like, does Canadian hip hop hit the radar for Americans, and even up till now in this modern era? Does anybody down there pay any attention to what's going on in Canada?
Maestro Fresh West.
Yeah.
I was a fan back in the day. I didn't, it's not really it's not regional to me. You know what I'm saying? I like what I like. You know what I'm saying? But I know Maestro Fresh West was from Canada, and I used to.
Hell yeah! And later on, Socrates, when Socrates came out,
I love Socrates too. Yeah,
like that shit was
Yeah.
Shot Claire.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah. And Frost is kind of slighting himself on the MC thing. I mean, in my opinion, I always told him like this too. Like his writing, punchlines, and all that. He was elite with that back in the day too. I just felt like he would pronunciate everything too much. You know what I mean? But his writing was always good. You know what I'm saying? So he slights himself all the time on the MC part, but.
Well, nothing will make you feel worse about your rap skills than jumping on a track with Tone Chop. That's the problem.
But like I said, man, I cannot sit here and let him slight himself because he does it all the time. If you heard him on the Four Sportsmen joints, he's definitely not a slouch.
I was just going to bring up the Four Sportsmen. We'll get to talking about your upcoming album together, Beautiful Foundations. But just before we do that, talk about Four Sportsmen. Is there going to be a Four Sportsmen album? Or I've seen you guys have been doing a few tracks in the past here with Papa Fresh and
Shout out to Deacon
The
Blue,
way
Papa
the way
Fresh.
they do stuff is different than we do it, but you know, it'll be something. It'll be a project EP or LP or something. It'll be definitely we playing on it. And me
Hey,
and Deacon too.
I want to give a shout to Deacon, man, because the way that collaboration came together is so authentic. We had Chop and I performed together at Cannon's release party for Cautionary Tales in Ithaca. Um, Deacon's from Long Island. I think he lives in Pennsylvania now, but he drove like 3.5 hours just to come see us perform, just on some fan shit. And he was like, "Yo, are you gonna do anti that? Are you gonna do this song?" Like he just came out some fan shit, gave us hugs,
Hey,
and he like at that night he pitched the idea. He was like, "Yo, we're four cats from four different regions, but we got kind of this similar sensibility. They've got more of Pawpaw has the Memphis Southern drawl to it. Deacon, New York cat with East Coast edge, but kind of likes the outdoor themes. And then me and Chop with like the what I would call traditional golden era vibes. And he just kind of pitched the idea, and I was like, yo, of course, because that's the way to get a collaboration, right? Not to send somebody a DM and say, let's work, but to drive 3.5 hours to their show and say, I love your shit. Could we work together?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we're going to say yes 100% of the time with that kind of love,
for real. Going out and shaking hands in person goes a long ways. I do got to give you guys props too. You mentioning anti that reminded me that
Yes, sir.
being an MC who also hosts a mix show every week. I'm not nice as a DJ. I'm much nicer as an MC than I am as a DJ. I just do this DJ shit because somebody should be. But so I've always had this idea in my head. Well, people send me, DJ packs, and I know they send you the acapella and the instrumental so that like, if you're nice with the hand skills, you can scratch shit up and do fancy DJ shit. That's not me. So I look at it and go, okay, well, fuck, I could just loop this up and add another verse on there. And so it's the only place that it lives is on an episode of After the Smoke is Clear. But there is a version of Anti that had me throwing a verse on there, and I'm thankful for you guys for being open to hearing it. So yeah,
Loved that you did, and that's that hip hop shit. Like that's the era we come from. Like you jump on anything, you jump on other people's records, you show and prove every chance you get. So we love that you did that. That was dope.
Yeah, it's fun. I should do that shit more often with people's records. I don't know. I always feel like it's kind of stepping on toes. But the thing is, if I'm only putting it on Atzik, it's not like I'm trying to make money off of it or anything. I'm just, like you said, taking part in hip hop.
If you can make money off our music, by all means, like show me how. Go ahead.
Yeah, word. No one can crack that code quite yet. Of making money off of anyone's music necessarily.
Yeah, but the Four Sportsmen, I mean, shit, even me and Deacon got a couple joints too. Me and him might even just do Tone Chop and Deacon Blue Frost on the beats. You know what I'm saying? But
that'd be nice.
Definitely, we got some other Four Sportsmen joints cooking too in the cut. But the album was just the main focus, and so we can always get back to cooking with them. You know what I'm saying? So
nice.
But we got a few joints in the simmer though.
Hey, good to hear.
With them as well though.
That's for down the line though. So for right now, what we're supposed to be on this show promoting, we've been talking for a half hour and have barely got to it at all. But Beautiful Foundations, the album coming up. Is this the debut album from you guys? I feel like you've been working together for so long, but are we calling this like the reboot debut, or tell people about the album?
It's actually the opposite. It's more like a capstone on the career. So Chop had been releasing mixtapes through the late 90s, early 2000s. He dropped like 30 mixtapes, and that was Tone Chop under Chop ENT. And you would see my name in the credits, but I was very much playing the background. I'm very introverted. I don't like the light being on my face. I just wanted to, be involved. And so, Chop was he had a big buzz. He was the resident champion at a club in town. He had a whole bunch of battles, never lost. He was running shit. And I thought he was going to get signed. So I was like, yo, I'm just gonna, ride Chop's coattails to this next level. And that was a mistake. I should have been thinking at that age, like I think today, and trying to build something more substantial to move things forward, and then around, some Chop ran into some trouble. And when he came home around 2014, 2015, that's when I said, yo, let me help with the business stuff, the packaging, the marketing, the promotion. Let me, get involved. And so I can't even, what have we done? 8, 9, 10. I don't know how many albums we've done. We've done lots of albums. We dropped a single every 2 weeks for almost 2 years. Like, I can't even count all the things we've got out there. But this beautiful foundation serves as the capstone to our career. So it's telling our story. It's about what is our beautiful foundation. Well, hip hop, the elements, where we come from, the people that influenced us, and then overall this very long period of time, we've made some real relationships. Like, there's people like PF Cutton and Tony Touch and DJ Eclipse who we grew up idolizing, who are now fans and supporters of our music. And so that just, like, it still feels a little weird even saying their name out loud. Like, do I have the stripes to be talking about these legends, But I guess I do, because they love our music and play it. And so we feel so much gratitude and happiness, and that's what we're trying to express through the album. Give thanks to those that have helped us and supported us, acknowledge our beautiful foundations, and just kind of show off what we do. Get busy on the mic, get busy on the beats, and put together what I think is the best package of art we've ever assembled.
Right. I've seen you guys kind of promoting it as, that's why I asked, like, are we calling this the debut, the full length thing or whatever? Like, and because I know you've been working together. I've been playing your music as long as I've been doing my show. So obviously, yeah, you have more albums, but this one feels like, I don't know, you really wanted to do it properly, or do it a little bigger, right, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. That was the whole thing about it. We worked on it for like 2 years, and like, oh, that one is, oh, that's perfect for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just record, and then, whatever fed to, like I say, he does all the track lists and all that, you know what I'm saying, song titles. So he'd be like, oh, that's one, we need that for the album. And then, like, we got features that, there's certain ones on there that I really wanted, you know what I'm saying? Like, people from my area that I feel like, that I really wanted to be on the project, especially that it was coming out on vinyl, because I feel like they should shine too, because I'm that type of guy, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like they should get shine along with us and everything, and they're very proud to be a part of it. Some of them I haven't even known all my life, but what I'm saying, they just I've built relationships with them where, like, everybody on the album, we have some sort of relationship with, you know what I'm saying? And, it's just important, you know what I'm saying? Like, and, just like, Great God is like somebody that I've known for quite a few years now. And he hosted one of my mixtapes back in the day. And, the way I'm talking about, really hosted it, you know what I'm saying? Like, bigging me up, and he recognized back then. Like I said, back then I was beats, bars, everything, putting the whole thing together and all that, all by myself back then. You know what I'm saying? So we hosted it, and then, me and him just been cool all this time. And he kept going, oh, we wanted a feature from him, you know what I'm saying? So he heard, I want to say, Raising the Bar 8, and he's like, oh, it's time. He heard some joint, he heard a couple bars on there. He's like, yeah, Chop, it's time. So Frost sent him the God Brothers Connect beat. He did it fast and sent it right back to him. And then there goes that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, but he's somebody that I personally know, for quite a few years now. So everybody on, and I was a fan. We got the Bad Seed. I've been a fan of him for a long time. And there was a joint that he did on a mixtape a long time ago too. Like, this happened. This has to be like, late 2000s, maybe even early 2000s. But it was like a Jay Grand mixtape. I used to go to New York all the time. I know you brought up New York earlier, but I used to make trips to New York to the mixtape spot, like, every couple of weeks, Harlem, Canal Street or whatever, and bring my joints, as well as like Copper, K Slay, DJ Clue,
Right.
all that, you know what I'm saying? And they had their joints called The Senate, they're from Syracuse, New York. They have their joints called the Senate mixtapes, which they was like with Dipset and doing their thing. So I used to. So he had some joints, and he's like, "Yo, I wanna get some of my mixtapes where you live at in Binghamton." So he brought it up, and we met in person or whatever. He gave me a whole bunch of joints, and I got him going around where I live at and all that. And he had just been cool ever since. He always told me like, no matter how big he gets, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And he always kept it official. He's a busy dude too, so but he squeezed the feature in, and he just heard he heard what he needed to hear, and then he's like, it's time, And then he did the feature. You know what I'm saying? So he actually wants to do some more work too. So it's gonna happen. But yeah, like everything on every appearance on the album, guest appearance is a personal relationship. A lot of people that I've known personally for a long time. Like I said, the Bad Seed had a joint called You Done Fucked Up, Don't You? That's what it was called. And I hit him up on Facebook one day, like, yo, you got a version without the DJ talking on it? He's like, yo, probably got to dig it up, but I'm sure I got it. A couple of days later, he sent it to me, like, here you go. And, I was just a fan back then, too, because I'm always a fan first anyway.
Yeah.
Bad Seed, salute to the Bad Seed. He's incredible.
Yeah. Tone, I got people in my chat saying sometimes you're kind of quiet. So if you can project at whatever microphone you got, sometimes we hear you nice and clear, but you kind of cut in and out a little bit. I'm keeping up with what you're saying, but it's not the nicest audio quality.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a crappy phone. I'm in the hallway, so I got kids in the house. It's noisy in there.
Yeah, we hear you when you're projecting direct at it like that. That's good, man.
I don't want to yell either, because people think I yell at them when I really project. And it's not a game.
You don't want to scare us either.
Get offended.
Yeah.
No, people get offended, And I tell them I'm not even yelling. That's my normal voice, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be cool right now, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
You hear it on the chat, my projection is there.
Yeah.
Salute to the chat, though. My bad. I'm in the hallway and I got kids in the crib and it's noisy in there.
No, I get it. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I just
and live performances, you really get the benefit of. We talked about anti-that. Like the first time we performed anti-that together, I got chills. Like I produced the record. I know the song very well, and I've listened to it a million times. But the first time we performed it live, I got chills just because his voice carries in the room over the microphone's working, but his voice carries. It's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
no hype man, no nothing. It's just me.
30 plus years of experience and practice of projecting with microphones or whatever.
Yes,
that pays off. You won't be one of those guys who's covering up the entire microphone, sounding all muffled, I'm sure.
Everything's clear. I get compliments about it all the time, and it's only me. I don't have a hype man or nothing.
Yeah,
I've been trying to train my oldest son because he knows a lot of his words and everything, and his energy is crazy. So I try to train my oldest son. Like he plays guitar, and like me and him will do some joints sometimes, open mic where he plays the guitar and just the guitar too, no drums, no nothing, and people really love it too, you know what I'm saying? So I'll take something that me and Frost did and then just do it over a guitar riff that he does, you know what I'm saying? But there's some videos out there where his energy is crazy. So I love someday if I was to have anybody as a hype man, he's 17, if I had anybody as a hype man, I'd like it to be him.
As soon as he can get into the bars, what is it, 18 or 21 where you're at?
Right. Well, I mean, like a lot of spots that I perform at, he can come anyway. He comes.
Okay. Nice.
If you got an adult with you, you can come. So, you know what I mean? But like, he knows the words, though. He hears it enough times. So, he'd be the perfect hype man for me. Like, people always say, like, he's like, they watching the crowd and always like, yo, it's crazy how your son knows all the words and everything. You know what I'm saying? But I do it with no hype man. But if I was to have a hype man, it would be him.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. The generational, continuation of the craft a little bit there. I've talked to other guys who have kids, obviously, and talked a bit about how like it's a dangerous ground when you've got teenagers because you don't want your kid telling you sound washed, right? Does your kid tend to listen to the style of hip hop you make, or is he into newer age stuff?
Now he does, but he also likes heavy metal. He plays guitar and he's in a band. Like
Okay.
he makes like heavy metal. But the hip hop that he does listen to though is the stuff that that I used to send him all the time. Put it on his Xbox and he would listen to it. Cannabis, Nas, all the '90s stuff. But my young son, he likes a lot of trash. So he'll be like, "Oh, you're trash." He's just joking though, but you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
he's always like, "Dad, you're trash." And like I see him play a video and he knows the words too. So he's just being a teenager. You know what I'm saying?
Just trolling, yeah.
Not my oldest son, no. My young one is 15, but I got two teenagers. So, but my youngest teenager, he just talks a lot. He's a clown. So he just makes jokes all the time. So he'll crack on me, but he knows. You know what I mean? Like he tries to rap too. You know what I mean? So maybe someday you might.
Tone, I was thinking about how much humor you have in your bars. For someone who is also, serious and threatening sounding a lot of the time, you also get a lot of punchlines in there that are, made to make the crowd chuckle, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talk about kind of infusing humor into, what's normally a pretty serious genre.
I feel like you have to because life isn't serious all the time. You know what I mean? And Frost will tell you, I'm a very serious person too. You know what I mean? But life is not serious all the time. You gotta have you gotta have. I don't know. I watch a lot of battle rap too, and the comedy is in there too. Like it's not all hard all the time. Hard stuff all the time. I mean, there's people that don't joke around a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I like to put some comedy in there. But punchlines and metaphors, similes, all that is I grew up on Lord Finesse, Big L, all that type of Lord Finesse is like probably my biggest influence. So you know what I mean? When I first heard him, it's punchlines. It's what I'm saying, back to back too. Just like me. It's a back to back.
Yeah.
And he's like my biggest influence and I wish he was doing more music now. He's DJing and still making beats and whatever. But but between him and Big L, probably, I'd say I'm a combination of both, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But I just continue. You know what I mean? I watch a lot of battle rap. You know what I'm saying? I battled a lot when I was young. I'm really only to be technical. Like me and one of my good friends. Like me and him is 1-1, and we never broke that. He's the only one that could ever say that he beat me at all, And it was a tough time at that time too. Not even using that as an excuse, but there was some things going on at that time. But I beat him, and then he beat me. So me and him is even. So that's really the only loss I really ever took. You know what I mean? I was one of those dudes that if I had several rhymes in my head all the time. Back then, you just had to be ready,
Yeah. So you're used to battle rap, and you used to. Was it organized league stuff, or was it more just
No.
MCs in a cipher and battling?
They had ciphers killed many of those, but they had this club out here had you put $100 in. And then whoever enters and wins, whoever enters got to pay $100. And at the end of the night, the winner gets the whole pot. So I was the champion, you know what I mean? And to the point where I wasn't even putting my money in no more. The club was putting the money in. My money's on chop. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, damn. That means they knew that people were coming to see you do it for sure if they were paying.
Right. The joint we got called Mollywop is from that sample is from one of those battles, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
The hook on that, Frost sampled one of the audio battles from back then. That's where that hook came about. That's what I mean. It's just the chemistry we had is undeniable. You know what I'm saying?
Where,
I was smoking people back then, and you know, there was only like a couple guys. Like we were so cool that we just chose not to do it. But you know what I'm saying? Like really only one loss. You know what I'm saying? Like one particular loss, and that was my man Ouija, and he's the only one that can say that. You know what I'm saying? But we're one on one though. You know what I'm saying? We just never broke the tie. I mean, we did music. We was doing music then, and you know, he's one person that I would still do music with.
right.
Like I said, like features is funny to me. You know what I mean? When somebody comes up to me, oh, we gotta. That's why I know we don't came about. People are coming up like, yo, we gotta do a track. Like, we don't though. You know what I mean? Like, if we didn't do one by now, we don't have to. I've
Yeah.
been in where I live 50 years. Like, if we didn't do nothing by now, chances are it's probably not going to happen.
Might be a reason why. Yeah.
Right.
So I guess
And I'm gonna smoke you anyway.
yeah, definitely. So, you guys worked on this for 2 years. Can you talk about, did you have an idea for an overarching vision for this album's sound and sonic quality? Like, Frost, I noticed a lot of, kind of soulful and almost even bluesy kind of vibes throughout this, and more sparse beats, lots of room for bars,
It all started with the title track, even before we had the hook on it. Like that first verse where Chop tells our story, I was overwhelmed, and I was like, I'm going to turn this into an album. And I called Chop and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to have an album called Beautiful Foundations, centered around this track you just wrote. I don't think we hadn't mixed it yet. We didn't have the hook from Lil Kane, nothing. I was like, yo, you got something here. I want this to be an album. And so we started talking it out, the concept of being, our story, where we come from. Throughout the years, we've worked with different publicists and had tried to tell our story in a different ways. We just wanted to do this our way, tell our story, our history, what's important to us, and just do it 100% our way. And so over the next couple of years, we just make songs. That's ordinary business for us. We're always making music. But when he'd record something, I'd go, oh, this kind of fits for this reason. And we put the album together that way. And so then we got to a point where we had 30 songs under consideration, and we had to trim it down and get to the right place. We tried different sequences, figured out, how to make the album flow. And, all of that took a period of time. And, then we mixed and mastered the album, tucked it away. And then we started developing promotional assets, because I knew from our previous releases that there's certain things you have to do to make a project successful. So we did all that. That took about a year, because we're doing that all ourselves. And then we reached out to John at New Dawn Records. He's someone, we know is a real one, a good person, somebody of the culture, and not, a vulture.
Yeah.
And so we were confident working with him to help roll the project out. So there was, some work to do there in terms of paperwork and, getting the assets finalized. And one of the favorite things we've done, my favorite things we've done, is we have a 21-minute mini documentary video that's dropping to accompany the album. So footage from back in the days, really telling our story from the late 80s to today, some of the things that we've gone through, some of the experiences we've had in the music business, and how we've ended up where we are today. So it cuts away all the BS and just lets us tell our story direct to the people. And, so we're 3, almost 4 years into that process. And now this month, we're finally delivering all the product. And, and so, Doobyis, I really appreciate you using your platform for us to help get this message out and talk about what we're doing, because
of course
we've put our everything into this. So we really do hope people will receive it well and support it. If they've ever supported anything from us before, they should like this even better, because we put everything into this.
Hell yeah. I got a chance to listen to the album early. I really enjoyed it. I've been really enjoying your guys' music for the last half decade or longer now. But I think you guys did really well on this. It's interesting to hear you mention that you've got this documentary kind of telling the behind the scenes story, because I've been noticing like, you know, my wife made me watch a documentary by this Noah Kahn dude whose album just came out, and he's real big, blowing up right now. Not hip hop at all. It's like a folk singer guy. And Taylor Swift had this big one that my wife made me watch with her, you know, and I think that that's kind of the wave right now, is like artists telling their story through those documentaries that are behind the scenes looks like that.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And like, there's like the story of us being rivals at the beginning is true, but it was like, it was kind of, we felt overemphasized, you know, like
Right.
that story was the story of our first EP called Veteran, which is our most commercially successful project. We had, you know, we had some label support at that time. Um, but we didn't really like that being the message, because our story is really one of brothership and camaraderie, and 35 years of, you know, making music together with love and respect, you know. So we wanted to tell the story correctly, what it's actually about, and this gave us the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, even just the title of the album, Beautiful Foundations, there's so much hip hop that focuses really on, like, you know, where people got to, and it's the whole fucking started at the bottom, now I'm here at the top kind of tale or whatever. So it's I think it's healthy, and it's good to see artists who are talking about, like, you know, this is the foundation of this thing. It's built on skills, it's built on camaraderie, it's built on brotherhood, and really celebrating that, and like Tone was saying, bringing in features who kind of support that and have been there around you, and people that you actually feel kinship with like that. That's also important. Listening to the album though, I noticed, you know, there's only a couple tracks that Tone you're actually doing the hook on. A lot of the time it was, you know, somebody else singing. You've got a few different singers doing hooks. You've got some that are scratch choruses. So I wanted to ask, like, did those hooks typically get added after the bars were on the track? Like, was it a singer filling in the hook, or was it vice versa to that, with Tone writing bars to fill in spaces between hooks?
All right, well, the joint with Fresh IE, the hook was already there. Me and Mindframe did the joint together, you know. So he rapped well too. But he's my hook man. Like he always he'll be like, you know, oh, I got a hook for that. Like, he's always just so excited just to do a hook for me anyway. Like, some people be like, oh, I want a 16 one. I want to, you know what I mean? He'll be like, yo, I got a hook for that. And then he'll start pacing, you know, and then he just, you know what I mean? Like, he just wants to be a part. And he's my brother too. He's a good dude. And, you know, that hook, he just, you know, I recorded the joint, and then I played it for him. He's like, hold on, I got a hook for that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just going, oh, I want a 16, you know, it wasn't nothing like that, because he raps too. But, you know, he did the hook, and then thank you DJs. I did the verses and all that. But the girl on the hook is who I wanted there. You know, I knew that from the beginning.
Hey,
You know what I mean? It took her a little minute, because I just told her, you know, she was trying to overthink the hook. You know what I'm saying? And I just told her, just thank you DJs. That's what we need. You know, she was overthinking it. So once I told her that, she recorded that, and then and she's like a very super duper singer in my opinion. And she's young too. She's only like 25 years old, and she is super good singing. Period. Like, she got her own music. So
yeah.
the hook that she did for us does not, you know, she's dope, but it don't display like really where she could take it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all I wanted her to do was thank you DJ. So, you know what I mean? And then
Hey, I wanted to thank you guys too for including me on that list of on thank you DJs.
Man, yeah.
You've earned
Well,
that. You've earned that.
You know, Frost, like you were saying earlier, though, that like it still feels strange to say these guys' name out of your mouth or whatever. It feels strange to me to hear my name put beside some of those DJs who are also on that list. You know, so it's an honor, and I thank you for it.
You put the work in, and I really appreciate what you do, giving underground artists a spotlight, especially highlighting Canadian music. You know, you asked about the hooks. We should mention, you know, the Canadian legend, or just overall legend, Fresh IE.
Yeah.
The reason we had the hook on that one first, this is like a social media story. I made the beat, and I wrote the hook. Like I don't usually write hooks, but I was inspired. I wrote the hook. I'm not a good singer, so I sang a reference and I put it on Instagram. And I said, could anybody interested in redoing this for me? And Fresh IE, two-time Grammy nominated, incredibly kind, talented Fresh IE said, "Oh, I'll do that for you." And within a couple days, he sent me back that beautiful, lush, funky, version that we have now. And so that was the reason we had the hook first, and then Chop went in and bodied it, and it came out great. But yeah, normally we start, Chop gets inspired by a beat, he writes something to it, he records it, I mix it, add some spice to it, and then we'll work with the DJ or a singer or whatever to find that final layer.
Sure. Hey, Tone, how about when you're actually writing bars? Are you typically writing two beats, or like with your punchline heavy style? I was kind of envisioning maybe you just come up with bars a cappella and then put them to beats. How does it normally work for you? Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. Okay.
I write in sections. I write a lot of stuff in sections.
The other thing I wanted to ask too is, like, with that punchline heavy style, do you think that there's a difference to your process compared to a lot of other MCs who aren't as focused on having those punchlines?
I mean, that don't really bother me whether it is or not. Like I got, I write mine like a puzzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like putting, like I could have 4, 8, 12, whatever, and then, you know what I mean? Like, but anytime I think of something dope, I jot it down though. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Maybe refine it. The idea is there, like, oh, I want to say something like this, and then I flip it around and bounce it until it sounds the way I want it to sound, and then, line it up. It could be something from nowhere, you know what I'm saying? But, everything is like sections. I do write joints where it's like straight through too, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, I do write a lot of chunks, you know what I mean? Like 4, 8, 12, 10, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? So schemes, you know what I mean? The funny parts, you know what I mean? Like schemes, like I said, I don't know, wordplay is important. Like I know some people don't really care about that, but that's it's important to me.
Yeah, there are a few punchlines and word plays on there that made me chuckle listening through it this morning. Like you said something about, like, you're not even a good boxer. You're gonna put me under. Yeah, it's like, you're gonna put me under the ground. You're not even a good boxer. You're gonna put me underwear. And a lot of people might not even catch that word play. But yeah, clever shit, man. Always clever shit from you.
Saying you put me ground, you put me underwear. You ain't even a good boxer. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and
yeah,
and it's crazy because DJ Smooth too. He reached out to me and was like, he's like DJs for terminology, and he's I think he's from Rhode Island. I'm pretty sure he's from Rhode Island, but I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where he's from. But he reached out to me in my DM. He's like, yo, sent me a couple joints that he was cutting on. And he's like, yo, you ever need cuts? Let me know. I laid that joint down, and then Frost had the idea of what to cut, and I sent it to him, knocked it right out. And he's the slice and dice, like, he cuts, you know what I'm saying? So, salute to DJ Smooth, but that's how that joint came about too.
Yeah.
And
Tone, I hadn't noticed that. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. You got more to.
I just want to say something about Bring the Storm. We was talking about hooks.
Yeah,
okay, so Bring the Storm is the verses was done, and the person on the hook though is another person that does music on his own. And he raps and he sings as well, but his singing is like, you could tell by the hook. Like people think that hook is a sample.
No, that hook is nice.
Many people thought that hook was a sample, and that's really a good friend of mine, you know what I'm saying? And I sent the joint to him, and he sent me back a voice clip, over Messenger, like, yo, this is the idea I got. He came over like the next day or two after that, and then recorded that, you know what I'm saying? And then, but yeah, like people think that hook is a sample, and that's not a sample. That's actually a good friend of mine, and he's a dope musician too, like great singer, you know. Actually, Carmela and him have a group together. You know, they have some stuff that they do together. They're called Love Stone, and they're grouped together. You know what I mean? So I have her, which she does group stuff and solo stuff, and then he's in a group with her, and they got stuff together, and he's got solo stuff. So and he raps as well. You know, and so yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Like I said, those are two people from my area. You know, I mean, I think Carmela's from like Westchester County, but she lives here now, and but he's from here. He's from this area, and so those are two people that I really wanted on. So those hooks were added, you know, after. But I knew who I wanted to do the hooks on those. But
Yeah.
yeah, just as you know.
A couple of bars I wanted to ask you about, Tone. You know, talking about friendship and being friends with people in the industry. There's a bar I caught. Honestly, I forget which track it was on, but you say something about how you're so dope you lost friends over it. And
Right.
you know, without necessarily getting into specifics, unless you feel like spilling the tea, but generally. I kind of wanted to ask, like, do you think that the doper an MC is, the tougher it is for him to have MC friends?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, or somebody would be like, they act like it don't bother them, but it does bother them. You know what I mean? And like, you know, it's just like, just being the person I am, and then if somebody feels like, there's like them people that they just don't rock with me like that no more because of that, and it's just like I don't know why. I'm one of the coolest dudes too, and I'm honest. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Jealousy.
tell people all the time, the worst I'm gonna tell you is it's just not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? And I don't get offended. Like if everybody don't like what I do. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
just because I'm not drill rapping, that don't mean that you gotta hate on me. You know what I mean? Like you want to drill rap, go ahead. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
I think people get jealous when they see, like, if you're an MC and I'm an MC, well, not me because I'm not like this. Chop and I are fans first. We love seeing people succeed. Like even if we don't like your music, if you're doing it with passion and integrity, that's beautiful. We want you to succeed at it. But for a lot of cats, they don't want distance between you and them. So if you're being recognized as skillful and you're starting to pop off, and they feel like I'm just as dope. Why aren't I being received in the same way? They start feeling jealous and like, throwing shade in subtle ways and like they can't be a fan of you because they feel like you're already too far ahead of them. They don't want you to get further ahead because of their support. So I think that that kind of jealousy brings out some real bad behaviors in people.
I feel like the core of it comes back to like hip hop being so competitive and based around competition a lot of the time that then when people get out competed, that's where the jealousy starts coming from. That's where these ill feelings start cropping up a little bit more.
I think part of it is you cannot mention hip hop at all where I live at without mentioning me first over everybody. And I really feel like that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
I've been doing it my whole life, damn near, you know what I'm saying? Like way more than half of my life. So, and people have been there since I started doing it. So, you know what I mean? Like you cannot mention hip hop in my area without mentioning me. It's impossible.
Hey.
Like, some people call me the Godfather in my area or whatever. Like it is true. Like you cannot mention, have people that, like I said, even I know young cats who do, the type of rap, not all drill rap, but you know what I'm saying, like newer stuff. But like they've learned from me too as well. They got sharper. Like I know somebody right now, like a couple years ago, he wasn't as dope as he is now. He listened though. You know what I'm saying? I told him like, concentrate. The craft is important.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing drill rap or whatever you're doing, like it's important still. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's no reason you can't have some wordplay or some punchlines built into your drill rap too, right? So those are definitely lessons guys could take from you and your
right. And not to mention rapping on a beat is important too. Like if you can't flow on the beat well, it doesn't matter. Like
Amen.
I know I grew up with many people who could write incredible shit. Like I'm talking about incredible shit. But when it comes to fucking rapping on beat, they can't do it to save their life.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Better at spoken word
And
poetry or something.
some of them managed to get better at it. You know what I'm saying? And they could do it now. But like I grew up with quite a few dope people that was like can really write some incredible shit. But when it comes to rapping on the beat, it just wasn't working for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tone, something else I hadn't noticed about your lyricism until I caught a bar. It's on the track called Dinner Time. You talk about how you don't use slurs in your rhymes. It made me think, like, does he ever swear? And I can't really remember off the top of my head, but like, have you sworn in your music in the past, or when did you change over to not swearing?
When I was doing mixtapes, I was swearing, but still not a whole lot. Like I don't know. It just comes natural for me to just not write with curses. I don't write with curses. But I said tear a page off and wipe my ass with your rap books. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know what I mean? But like I said, like I got children too. Like I want my kids to be able to. I want my kids to be able to dive in. To my stuff without as hard as it is and whatever. Like it's aggressive, but at the same time though the curses is not there, and I just do it naturally. Like I've been writing that way for years. Sometimes even if I do curse, I'm like, maybe I should, say something else. But sometimes I get in the mood where like, I feel like the curse is not ruining the joint, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be a little extra punctuation too, but a lot of guys seem to lean on it like a crutch.
But a lot of people can't. We got whole projects with not a single curse on it. Like, there's not too many people that can do that. But like we got whole projects with not a single curse on it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, one thing I'm real proud of Chop, in our entire catalog, I don't know how many hundreds of songs we got. There's not one single song where Chop refers to a woman as a bitch.
Hey,
not one track. So, we're products of the 80s. We're here for the positive, the fun. Like we're going to show and prove our skill, and if necessary, Chop will mash on you, but we're really not here to downgrade or hurt people in that way, and we don't like that kind of negativity.
I like that a lot, man. I saw a different creator, and I apologize, I can't think of his name, but I saw a clip where he was talking about how like boom bap. He was saying like, I've got no problem with boom bap, but a lot of these guys act like they can't have any fun with it. And
right.
That you got to just be like dead serious, stone cold, real serious the entire time, no fun having at all. And I kind of thought to myself like, the humor that the Tone's bars have in them is a way to have that fun. Because to me, to me it all goes back to KRS-One and fucking him explaining the roots. That's where I learned that shit from. So like, peace, love, unity, and having fun. You got to have the fun in the boom bap too.
You gotta be dope, but most of all is make sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you find something on there where I ain't make sense, bring it to me and let me know, because everything makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that just really write anything, and you know what I'm saying? Like just because it rhymes or whatever. Like, and then a lot of stuff does not make sense. Like, what did you mean by that? Like, if you find something on there, like, what did you mean by that? Like, I can explain it.
Yeah.
But it's going to make sense even when I explain it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's actually something I've always stood by with lyricism, Tone, is that like anything I say on a record is something that if somebody comes and asks me to my face, like I'm going to back up, I'm going to stand beside that thing that I said on the record. I'm not just rhyming bullshit, like you said, and I think
like
too many MCs are.
You caught the underwear bar, but I mean, somebody else might not catch that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My boy Yasha on Bring the Storm, he caught that right away. He's like, and like I said, like even it's like we're hoping that people get this album and they enjoy it and then go back and dive into all the other stuff we got too, because I got people that hit me up a lot. They go to the gym and they're like, yo, like hit me up from joints that I did years ago. Like, yo, that joint you said right there is crazy, or this song is ridiculous because they're in the gym working out and they dived in. They took the deep dive into where they're on YouTube and they're listening, and we got so much music, or they're on Spotify and they're tapped in and like they're diving in, like
Yeah.
like they like, yo, you're so elite. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to really, but people really tell me all the time, like, yo, you're elite, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, that's
but
real, man. If people enjoy this album, they definitely should go back and dig through your guys' catalog, because it's been consistent, and this is not a new evolution to be making music at this high of a level. This is a continuation for sure, from just what I've seen over the years that I've been paying attention.
yeah.
A couple other bars that I caught on there, though, too, that I wanted to ask about. Tone, there's a bar where you mentioned being in the lunchroom with AZ banging on the table, and I was like, are we talking about like the legend AZ, or okay, right?
It's another kid. He called himself AZ the Rhyme Roller.
Okay.
He's just like, he's just a friend of mine. Like during that time, I'm saying like, people was beatboxing, and what I'm saying, like he would just tap on the table, and he's a rapper too as well. Like,
yeah,
but yeah, CeeLo was another one. Like on that joint alone too, he passed away when he was like 17, and he was like a storyteller. Like his rhyming was stories, all type of stories, and he had like Binghamton stories. You know what I'm saying? Like so, and but it was us three for a long time. Like we was rhyming together. That's why I say I had to mention him, because I knew there's also a dude out here named A Roller. So people might even think that I'm talking about him, but I'm talking about, because I say A the Rhyme Roller too on there too, but it's
right.
actually AZ the Rhyme Roller, and he's like he grew up here, but he came from like Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. But when he moved to Binghamton, he was going to school where I was going to school at, and he was a dope MC too as well. But like it was me, him, and my other friend CeeLo. And, he passed away when he was like 17. So that shows like how long, what I'm saying? Like I was in high school, ninth grade probably back then when I'm talking about that. But like, I mean, I've been rhyming for as long as I can remember.
Well, with such a I guess sturdy foundation and legacy that you've built in your community there, does it feel kind of important to be a torch carrier who's still out making new music? And I'm sure over all those years there's been a lot of people who you've known in the music community who fall back to have a family, or fall back for whatever other reason in life comes up. A lot of people fall back from that shit.
I got a family too. I'm a single father. I got a family too. I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I got nieces, nephews, and you know what I mean. Like I got, I'm a father first before anything else too. Just like when it comes to music, I'm a fan first. I can name a bunch of MCs right now that I love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, but in my community though, it is, and I get it all the time. It's like they'll be like, it's crazy that you're still doing it at this level after all this time. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of dope guys out here too, but they just not me. You know what I mean? Like, and they know it too, and they give it up all the time. Like, I got a lot of friends that are fucking incredible. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's important to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to reach out to the youth as well too. There's plenty of young guys who don't do a lot of the new stuff neither. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of kids where I'm from, young too, and they make boom bap too. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of them still. Some of them that I grew up like there's dudes out here that I was the first one to put them in the studio, and they still doing music now. So that makes me feel good too, because my studio used to be home to a lot. Like I was saying before in another interview, I had a mixtape called Gladiators, and all the tracks was me with other dudes on there.
Okay.
Like I was the only one out here doing tracks, with like, me and 5, 6, 7, 8 other rappers on there, in my beats and recording all their verses and everything and all that too. Like my studio was a home to a lot of people that still rapping these days too, and they always bring it up. You know what I'm saying? My dude Blizz is I don't know if you heard of him before, but he's popular too. His name is Blizz the Illest. He got songs like Black Poet,
Okay.
Rusty Jooks. He's got a lot of joints. He's doing this thing too. But I was the first one to put him in the studio, and he always, every time he does a show and I'm there, he always brings it up. He never doesn't bring it up.
Hey.
Yo, for those who don't know, like when he introduces me, because a lot of shows that he does out here, I'm a participant as well. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, for those you don't know, you might have heard this story before, but Chak was the first person to ever put me in the studio, like 14, 15 years old. He's still making music.
That's so huge for any community to have kind of those pillars or anchors of the scene who hold the other artists down and help bring people together like that. Guys, can we keep this conversation going? Are either of you on a time limit here? We're good to keep going? Okay, because there's a conversation I wanted to have with you guys that there's a few bars I heard Tone say about having hand styles and being able to do graffiti and, representing that element as well. So by my count, that's 3 elements covered in this group. I wanted to ask, like, do either of you guys breakdance or have history with breakdancing? And then
I used to breakdance.
So
I was nice too.
Yo, so hear me out on this one. So as 3 guys who are aging in this hip hop scene, do you think that the thought that popped into my mind was, do you think that maybe breakdancing has kind of taken a back seat and doesn't get the same limelight that the other elements tend to get in this culture? Even, I mean, it was in the Olympics, but that was kind of a joke anyways. But is that because a lot of the original practitioners of this culture have kind of aged out of the physicality that it takes to breakdance, whereas the other talents don't necessarily take that physicality?
You hurt yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who wants to get hurt doing a windmill?
There you go. Yeah.
I was a windmiller, bro. Like I ain't doing no windmilling. I ain't doing no windmill now. You might get a backspin out of me or whatever, but I ain't doing a windmill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw my homie DJ Dice hit a windmill. I don't know, he must have been around 50 at the time, something along those lines. But yeah,
I've seen Jadakiss hit a windmill.
Yeah.
Common is breaking. Like I saw Common perform a couple years ago. He did a windmill on stage.
I seen Jadakiss do a windmill.
Dope. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think
I seen Jadakiss bust out a windmill.
Well, Jadakiss, we've also seen him just like jump up and do all sorts of calisthenics off the bar and stuff. Like those dudes from the Locks don't fuck around with their health. I think they're in good shape. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That was just something that the other elements you can still run around and do late in life.
Frost got a graffiti tattoo. I did the graffiti on the tattoo that he got on his arm. He got a Frost tattoo. Nice. I did the graffiti for that.
Oh, sweet.
And I still do graffiti. Not on walls or nothing, but I still do graffiti. Sure. And my son is nice at graffiti too.
Nice.
And I didn't even push that on him either. That's something that he just adopted on his own. He loves graffiti.
Hey.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like I said, man, my oldest son is like heavy into music and graffiti as well, but he plays guitar though. He just don't rap. You know what I mean? He can rap if he wanted to, but he just don't rap. He chooses just to play guitar, which he's self-taught, and he's very good at it too.
Dope. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see musicality passed down generation to generation, whether it's in the same genre or not. Yeah. Guys, I always have been asking everybody the same question, and most weeks when I'm talking to people, it's just a Canadian answering from the Canadian perspective, where we're being threatened with being the 51st state and whatever. The threat of the American military looms on the horizon just to the south of us. But I know that some people don't like to talk politics, and I know that other people are happy to take a platform and talk a little bit of politics. But do either of you guys have anything to say about the current, state of the world, or what?
I don't mind making a comment at all. I think I kind of have a unique perspective. Like I was born American. I'm going to die Canadian.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that I'm really excited for where Canada's heading. Like we're in a painful, place right now. We're going through a breakup, right? And breakups are always a little painful, but I'm pretty excited about the direction the country's headed in. And I think, the pride that everyone's feeling and trying to, forge a new path forward in terms of making new trade partners and, making investments in the nation.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty exciting time from that standpoint. I mean, I can't stand Trump at all. I'm reminded of a joke I heard someone tell in the past, which I think actually J.D. Vance might have said it. He said, if you vote for Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, we're gonna be at war in Iran within a year.
Yeah.
And I guess J.D. Vance was right because I voted for Harris, and now we're at war with Iran. So, we're in the situation that we're in, but I think Canada's future is bright, and we're headed in a great direction.
Yeah, it just makes me nervous because, I mean, they got Venezuela, they got Iran. That's the first and second biggest oil reserves. Well, I mean, maybe they don't quite got Iran just yet, but they're trying to get Iran. And the third biggest oil reserve on the globe is right here in Alberta, where I'm sitting. And there's this whole kind of foreign-backed, foreign-funded AstroTurf bot campaign trying to convince people that Alberta should separate and become part of America. My provincial government seems to be right on board with it. They're down in Mar-a-Lago shaking hands with Trump and taking pictures and all this. So, it makes me nervous, and I'm kind of eyeing the door to get the fuck out of Alberta if and when, the talks about how they need to come liberate the poor Albertans from our tyrannical government starts up. I hope that that's not where it goes, but it feels like that might be the same playbook that they used in Ukraine when they started talking about the Donbass region needs to be liberated or whatever.
It's a risk. You're not lying. I mean, there is some risk there. Like what percentage is, I can't quantify it.
Sure.
It's a strange thing when you've got a liberal government that's authorizing pipeline construction and so many Albertans are unhappy. That's an odd situation to me.
The Liberals bought the last pipeline too, but still everybody here hates on Trudeau. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You're still going back and forth across the border, though? That's the other kind of follow-up to the whole political opening of the door that I ask people.
I am by myself. My wife wants nothing to do with Trump land right now and is not willing to cross the border with me.
Sure.
But I mean, I got business. I got an album release party in a couple weeks. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tone, anything to say? I don't want to get you in trouble with the thought police.
Absolutely not. I'm good with the politics. It's a lot of politics where I live, and I'd rather just leave it at that.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah.
It's not good. It's not really good right now. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I hope something rises from the current situation, like a phoenix from the ashes, and the pendulum swings after this, goes away or whatever. But yeah. Guys, I do a section of this show called How Important is quick fire. How important is this? How important is that? It's kind of a conversation starter if you want to rant, but if you want to be quick about it, just tell me, 1 out of 10 rating or something like that. Let's do, this is interesting for two guys who are going to perform together, who are, so far apart right now. How important is rehearsing together as an MC DJ combo?
I'd say it's very important. We don't get the opportunity to do it. Like we appear together infrequently, but also like we could just do it on a moment's notice because it's it's second nature to us at this point. Like we could do it, but practice, practicing your craft, like Chop said, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Same from you, Tone. What do you think about rehearsal before shows?
I rehearse. I do shows by myself all the time, so I rehearse all the time. I do shows. Actually, I never really like the last couple years. I really concentrated on doing it by myself and being and doing shows. I always just perform in the studio. I never really cared about performing really like that. But the last couple years, open mics, whatever, just trying to get my show best because there's dudes out here that I know they might not be as dope as me as rapping wise, but the show that they there's a few dudes out here where they show is like their show skills is top notch, and they do them dolo too. No hype man, no nothing. Just like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they tell me all the time like that my show gets better every time. So yeah, I'm rehearsing all the time. You know what I mean? Like usually, like if I got a show on Friday, I'll start rehearsing like Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? So I'll get everything because I don't need a lot of rehearsing because I always do joints that I know the best and the
Right.
ones that they like the most in my area. But I rehearse a lot. Like I said, by the time I record a joint, like if I'm recording it off my, and looking at the words, but by the time it's done, I got it memorized pretty much anyway. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like sometimes, I record something and then go back and listen to it. And then, like he said, like if it's even the minuscule thing, like, nah, I gotta fix that. Unless it's something that he could fix. You know what I mean? Maybe I was not close enough to the mic at one point, and he could, fix it that way or whatever. But he'll tell you, like, he'll be like, hey, if you want to re-record it, I'm not, the tale tells that it's going to be better if you do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
it don't happen all the time, but yeah, rehearsing is very important.
How about how important is in-person studio sessions between MCs and producers?
Pretty darn important. Like we're able to create the way we can because we have the chemistry because we know each other so well.
Right.
But we'd already spent 10 years in the basement building, right? So we're already there. We already have that chemistry. But I couldn't recreate what I do with Chop with somebody else at all, and definitely not like over email. You're never gonna get there. That's part of the reason why I tell people to come see Chop. Like I don't want to email beats to people. I don't even want to do it like that. We've got to have kinship. That's the only way it works.
That makes sense.
Cats are lucky that me and him ain't doing it in person, because then they'd be really in trouble if we was doing it in person. Because the chemistry we have just in person as a friendship and brothers, it's always a good time, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So if we was creating all this together, people would really be in trouble. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we're doing this separate. So if we was in the studio, like if he was cooking up, like I'd have the song done and everything by the time he's done cooking the beat up or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
we're doing it separate, but it sounds like we're together because we've been doing it so long together that it doesn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I do stuff with people around, in this area, they come to my crib and record, and then Frost mixes it. Even over my beats too. Frost is even, gives me the grace to mix anything that I send him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if somebody records something over here, Frost mixes it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I give somebody one of my beats and I always tell them, I'd rather them record it at my crib, but they can take it somewhere else and do it too. But if they record at my crib, Frost always mixes and masters it anyway.
Hey.
Some people that he might not even enjoy. You know what I mean? But he still does it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because it's me. But yeah, the chemistry is undeniable. It doesn't matter. Like between me and him, it don't matter as much as it would with somebody else. But like I said, if we was really doing it together, like in person, we would have way more music probably too as well. And then, cooking it up in person would be different.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, we was in the basement, a lot.
That makes sense, man. That's those beautiful foundations in play,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So we kind of touched on this a little bit with talking about your two sons and what they think of your music, but let's just generalize and say, how important is that your family approves of your music?
I mean, my family don't. A lot of my family don't listen to hip hop, but because it's me, they will.
Right.
And they'll come out and support, and they share whatever I got going on. Like, my brother listens to country music, but if you ask him about hip hop, he's gonna say me automatically. You know what I'm saying? And they support everything I do. Like my youngest son listens to he listens to hip hop, but he listens to a lot of garbage. You know what I'm saying? So, but he's changing. I will say he's changing.
Sure.
He's changed up a little bit, but he does like the melodic stuff. He's only 15. You know what I mean? But my other son, though, is when he's listening to hip hop, it's Method Man, it's Redman, it's Nas, it's Cannabis. It's what I'm saying. It's you know, KRS One, joints about graffiti, Big L, like I said, I put him on the stuff all the time, and he's always, and he'll send me stuff too. Dad, you ever hear this or whatever? Like, you know what I'm saying? So my son is, he's in he got like a band too. So he plays heavy metal, but he loves hip hop too though. And like if you ever see him at one of my shows, people will tell you like his energy is crazy. They're like, if like I said it before, if anybody would be my hype man, it would be him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe someday we make it happen. Because even the guitar and me together is undeniable too. Like he creates something and then, I'm like, that's it right there, So we call it guitar and bars. You know what I mean? So
cool.
So me and him got something. We've done it. Like, if I do a show, I bring him at the end and then, we do something together. He'll come up on stage. You know what I mean? My youngest one too. My youngest one is starting to come up on stage and stuff too. He's just like, he don't like all the people before that come on. He's like, oh, this is long, so he gets bored. But he'll come up on stage and everything, and he enjoys himself. He likes to, he'll get in the video, whatever, so. But yeah, I feel like his taste for hip hop is changing, though. You know what I mean? Like, so he's like I said, he's only 15. He tries to rap too, but he's not there yet. But if he does get there, he may.
Takes a bit of time. There's not many dope 15-year-old MCs, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was dope at 15, but I mean, he might get there though. I feel like if it's either one of my two sons that'll get there, I feel like he might get there. We'll see. Yeah, I don't force it on him or nothing, you know what I mean? But like I said, like they know, everywhere they go, they your chop son. They know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
how about you, Frost?
I don't know about
how important do you figure family approval is?
I think it depends on the context. Like, my wife and kids are very supportive of what I do. Although they don't necessarily always understand it all, right? Because this is my culture and my worldview, and like my son, has a very different upbringing than I've had, and my wife has a different cultural background, and so they can't necessarily directly relate to it, but they're very supportive of what I do. I don't know how important it is because I'd be doing this anyway. Like,
sure.
Like I'm gonna be tagging up in the house. I'm gonna be making beats. I'm gonna be like, they couldn't stop me. Like, that's just who I am. So I think it would be more of a negative impact to the relationship than anything else if they weren't supportive of it. But I will say this, especially I'll throw this jewel out for the younger viewers. If you're in a relationship, your partner, your significant other is not being supportive of your music career, and that's important to you, you need to end that relationship, because you're gonna spend years wasting your time and end up in a bad place. I've worked with rappers whose girlfriends are in the crowd, like, why don't look at girls when you rap? Don't. And like, it's an anchor.
Yeah.
It's an anchor, and you're going nowhere. So,
Yeah.
I think that support is more important for the relationship than for the music career, because if you're really passionate about this, nobody can stop you.
Yeah. That's a lot of wisdom right there. I like that answer a lot, man.
That's the reason why I stay single as well. Because I had a relationship like that for 6 years. And
Sure.
it's like, I turned down so many opportunities just to save face for the relationship, So now, all the opportunities that come my way, I'm jumping on them,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Nourish the music, not the unsupportive relationship. That's good
great.
advice.
I mean, it was supportive for years, but then after that, it just started changing, like try to use it against me, you know what I mean? But
Sure. Yeah.
I was like, when I met you, I was doing music and I'm still going to be doing music after. You know what I mean? So I just choose my relationship is with my children. And, everybody that knows me knows that being a father is most important, so that relationship is more important to me than any relationship.
100%. Actually, you're one of the MCs who I've heard talk most about his kids in albums, and it's it's not like you really have in-depth. I don't think I've heard you do the like "Letter to My Son" or whatever song that a lot of MCs will do, kind of thing. But like, just even the mentions of them here and there show that they must be a big part of your life. Yeah,
they're important.
Yeah. For real. This is one I haven't asked people before, but how important to you guys is it that hip hop is on the charts? That it's like a popular thing?
Zero. Fuck the charts.
Not important, because I don't listen to stuff that's on the chart really anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We kind of lost sight of what happened in the 90s. People talk about the 90s like it was this perfect era. All the bullshit grew deep roots in the 90s. I remember, we came up in the 80s, so I remember when cats first started rapping about guns. Like, everybody started rapping about guns. And I remember Chop had a verse where going against that back then. And like, I don't know, like people treat things trivially. Like when J. Rude had the song One Day, people are like, oh, wasn't that cool that Premier produced both J. Rue and like, you're looking at it the wrong way. Like, we were fighting for control, for the soul of our culture. We didn't want it to be absorbed by corporations and turned into the fucking lowest common denominator and sold with candy bars.
Well, the 90s was kind of the last era where like selling out was even a thing. Like, I can remember, even like hearing, whatever big rock band, their song is on a car commercial now, and thinking, and like seeing articles and hearing the discourse about like, oh, that band sold out. And like, after another 10 years, that wasn't even a thing that anybody registered. There's no such thing as selling out at this point. And
there's no selling out. There's no concern about biting. Like, if you sound exactly like Travis Scott, you're doing good. Like, it's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, man.
It's another thing I want to say is and I lost my train of thought, but it's like it's really not important. You know what I mean? I don't listen to a lot of it anyway. I mean, if I'm out somewhere and somebody's playing it, it's different, but it's not something that I sit around and listen to or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's so many other dope people to listen to where you don't gotta to get my hip hop fix. I don't have to listen to mainstream at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I really don't even have to. I could get my fix by listening to people in my area, even if I really had to. You know what I mean? But
that's something I've learned doing an all Canadian hip hop show, is that I can get my fix just doing that.
And I want to say, like, one of the big problems is nobody cares about a message no more. And the message isn't there. In the 90s, there was a message.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the people, like some say, that they, the new music today, back in the day, they was, talking, bigging up the drug dealers and all that. Now they're bigging up the people that's using the drugs. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's really, now the music now the dudes that's doing music, they're using the drugs and bragging about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I do perks and I'm
Yeah.
perky this and perky that. And you know what I mean? Back in the day, people wasn't like, oh, I do perks and you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like even with me too, like I tell people all the time, do not get it confused. Like I give you, they want to hear the bars. They want to hear that's the most that's what they want to hear from us too. But don't think that there's not. You know, I got a lot of deep joints in the cut too. You know, and we just spoon feed them. You know what I mean? Like we spoon feed the deep joints. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't want to support the deep ones. Like I got a song called "What I Wouldn't Do," and a lot of people really mess with that song. Like I could do it. I could be in any environment and do that song, and they relate to it automatically. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, the message is missing.
Yeah.
You know, there's a
Let me use that to transition to the next one of these questions, because I noticed you've got a track called "Enough" where you discuss addiction, and
right.
I think it's kind of in like a format where you're talking to the drugs themselves as though like personified
Right.
the drugs themselves.
Exactly. And I have many friends that I lost, you know, to both.
Yeah.
You know, to both heroin and meth. Like meth is very available to the children, and heroin is very available to the children too.
Yeah.
Like where I live at, the drug epidemic here is crazy. Homelessness is crazy. It's it's terrible. Like you know what I'm saying. So that song, you know, is just like yeah, I'm talking to the drug itself, like what it does, because I've been there. Not that I do it or ever did do those drugs, but I've known people very close to me.
Yeah.
That's how I get the imagery for it, because I've been there and seen it firsthand multiple times, you know what I'm saying? With people that I truly love. So and that's what I mean. That's another song too. Like it's a message there. You know what I'm saying? So we got that one on there because, you know, I feel like that's a message here in my city that really, that's a message that should get out there. And really, that was like the first verse was just like a video, a verse over that beat. And I did it, and people were like, oh, you got to make this a whole song. So, you know, instead of making both verses about heroin, though, I did one about heroin and one about methamphetamines. You know what I'm saying? That it's the same style for both verses, but it's, you know, two different things. You know what I'm saying? And,
beyond just your community, Tone, that's a, you know, I think worldwide at this point. I can definitely speak on it being out here. I used to worked 3 years at the busiest supervised consumption site where, you know, people can come in and use drugs. I worked there for 3 years, and it was the busiest one in the world. And that's out here just because it's everywhere. Everybody is struggling and gravitating towards those drugs as something to lean on. I guess, can I follow up and ask, I also heard bars there, Tone, where you talked about how, you know, you don't smoke as much marijuana as you used to anymore. One question that I ask here is, how important is any substance to your artistic process?
it's not important at all. And I used to think it was. And, you know, I had probation for 5 years, and I had to do the whole 5 years. And it was for weed too, not to mention. And so I didn't smoke during that time. So maybe like 2 more years after that, I didn't smoke either. So probably like 7 years. And then like, you know, like it would be every once in a while. Now it's like New Year's was probably the last time. Frost don't smoke weed no more neither. And he used to smoke a lot of weed. So when he would come around, I would smoke a little bit of weed with him. But like I used to when I was making my mixtapes though, I mean I was saying a lot of crazy stuff back then. So maybe it did affect my creativity back then, but not as much as I thought, maybe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I make the best music I ever made in my life now, and I don't smoke weed. Hardly, you know what I mean? Like once in a blue moon, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't smoke it at all, but you know, very seldom. When I do, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and it has to be like sativa, because I just feel like it just makes me lazy and unmotivated, and you know what I'm saying? So maybe it's because I'm older now or whatever, but I just feel like it don't have any I feel like I'm better without it. My music is better without it.
How about you, Frost?
I miss it terribly.
I almost didn't ask because I assumed you would just say the same thing he just
I
did.
miss it terribly.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
I love weed. It's just that I'm older now and I have health concerns, and I want to live a long time. People are counting on me, and so I eat right, I exercise every day, and I don't smoke weed anymore. But I miss it. But I still feel very creative, and it was kind of a cheat code for me. Like, let's say I had worked, I worked a 9-10 hour day, come home, deal with a bunch of family stuff, and then I'd have two hours at night before I go to bed where I could create. Smoking a J would get me to that creative space quickly. So it kind of was a cheat code, but quitting it hasn't hurt me. But I can't lie to you, I do miss it. I miss it a lot.
Let me ask one more of these how important questions for both of you. If as producers, this is from the producer angle, but how important is putting like a tag, like a producer tag at the start of a song, like a lot of producers are doing these days?
If it is important, I've been messing up for the last 30 years because I don't do it. I don't do it.
Sure. Have you ever thought about it?
No, because I don't sell beats. Like I don't sell beats. I don't care about that. Like for me, like being a producer is really, I view it through a classical sense. It's my job to serve Chop. He had a vision and a message and an idea that he was trying to put forward. And so my job is to help him do that to the best of my ability and put that first.
Yeah.
I really just don't like the vibe of like a superstar producer who's like is trying to steal the show or whatever.
Yeah. What you said about not selling beats, I think that goes a long ways, right? Because the guys that are selling beats to a bunch of different people, it's different for them. But for you, your name is typically going to be on the front of the album already. So
and I'm curving people. I'm like, ask Chop for beats. Just leave me alone. Like,
sure. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to hustle up sales.
Tone, what do you think of producer tags at the start of songs?
I don't. You can steal my shit if you want. I don't care. Producing is not that important to me. If somebody finds my beat somewhere and they rap to it,
a
lot of times they're garbage anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like if I ain't give it to you, if I gave it to you, I know you're dope and I gave it to you for a reason. Go ahead. I don't care about making money off it or nothing. I don't care. That's just my opinion. Making beats is not a way of living for me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care. I've sold beats before too, and he has too, but it's just not important to me. You know what I mean? Like, I got plenty of beats, and even if you do, just so you know, even if you do hit me up for one of Frost's beats, a lot of them are already spoken for in your mind. You know what I'm saying? So even if it takes me 2 years to get to them, you're still not getting it.
It's crazy to think about how easy it was for me to sell a beat like 15, 20 years ago, and the amount of money I would get paid for the quality that it was. Like, I'm so much better today, and I would have to sell for so much less, which is crazy.
Yeah, weird. Just because the market's changed. I lied, guys.
People give you 100 beats for $5 now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's cheap for sure. I want to ask one more of these questions. I scrolled down the list and saw one more I thought it made sense to ask. I might have asked you this before, Frost, out in Winnipeg, but how important is your physical location as an artist?
It has some importance. As a lot of times people are going to connect with you based on your story that you're telling, and that is often, very much connected to where you come from. I mean, Chop and I are, representing where we come from on beautiful foundations. But I think that, one of the beautiful things about today is that an independent artist without the support of a record label or an investor can reach people through, the internet and electronic means. And from the moment I heard Rakim say, "It ain't where you're from, it's where you're at," I, fully believe that in my heart. So, I think that's what it comes down to. If you're creating art that you're passionate about, you can build an audience no matter where you're at, no matter where you're starting from.
What do you figure, Tone? Have you ever thought about moving like into actual New York, New York?
I mean, my oldest son wants to. You know what I mean? Maybe, maybe when my youngest son gets of age, maybe move somewhere else. You know what I mean? But I mean, I just been here all my life. You know what I mean? And most of my fan support is here. Even even if it's from a distance, a lot of times. But in person, it's always when they see me, it's always different. There's a lot of secret animosity and everything in where I'm from, and there's really no reason for it because I'm an honest person and I always give people my honest opinion, and I never really worry about whether people like my music or not because I never did it for that reason. Me and Frost make the kind of music that we like. That's the best way to describe it. We make the music that we like to listen to, and but we're very grateful for the people that do enjoy it, and become fans. Like I said, I highly recommend people to just, if you hear something now, go back, because deep dive. Like I tell everybody all the time, the people always ask, "Oh, where could I get your music at?" You could get it everywhere, and there's so much of it. You
Yeah,
don't have enough time
there's no
in the
shortage.
day
Yeah,
to catch up. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have enough time on your hands to hear everything anyway.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you hear something you like and you got a little bit of time on your hands, deep dive, even if it's just a little bit at a time. But yeah, I mean, I like it here. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, but I don't like it in a lot of ways too. Where I'm from, people always say like, oh, it's Binghamton because it's Binghamton. Really, I've even said it before too, but really, it's really not. There's nothing really going on here that ain't going on everywhere else. It is. It's going on everywhere
Yeah, that's
in
the final
America.
question I ask.
And
I ask anybody actually. Tone is, can you describe your local scene? So, can you describe the Binghamton scene to people?
well, the local scene was thriving years ago, and then it got a lot of hate and a lot of people. Oh, we don't want hip hop here because we don't want no trouble, and you know what I'm saying. But it's thriving now. It's starting to thrive again now because of a certain dudes that put on stuff, and we never had a single problem. Not no violence, no nothing.
Yeah,
So it makes it so other people are not so afraid to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the problem. There's no the outlets here. People are afraid that it's going to be violence and it's going to be trouble. And really, every event that I've been a part of, there's never any violence at
yeah.
all. Not a fight, not nothing. You know what I mean? So the scene was thriving for a long time. It was a lot of unity, and then it fell off, and then now it's getting back to the unity and it's starting to thrive again, which I'm happy about.
It's
You know
good
what
to
I'm
hear.
saying? So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How about you, Frost? You want to say anything about Winnipeg scene?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Winnipeg has a pretty healthy scene in terms of like we're inside for 6 months out of the year, right? So there's a lot of creative people here. There's a lot of venues. Yeah, and not just from hip hop, like the music scene has been built up from punk and rock and all the history that Winnipeg has. Um, and for me, I'm older now, so I'll be honest, I'm not well dialed into what the youngest generation is doing right now. I bet there's some very dope stuff, that's out and about. I can tell you that the millennial generation, the next generation behind me is doing great, in terms of there's local performances from dope MCs. I'll quickly shout out Cairo and Hoopaloop. They're a local duo who I think are just absolutely fantastic. I love their music. There's a lot of great artists that perform. There's studios, there's shows, people that open up for national acts that are touring. So there's a pretty good scene here. I think people might become frustrated that it's not a big, robust audience, and that like a lot of the people in the audience are performers also themselves. But I think Winnipeg is a great place to get started. It's a welcoming place, and a place where you can develop your skills among like-minded creatives. I'm very happy to be here.
Nice. Guys, one of the last things I ask before I let people go is kind of to speak it into reality. Is there an artist who you'd like to collab with, who you haven't collabed with, but that you would like to in the future?
I'm ready for this question. I have only one name, and that's LL Cool J.
That would be
LL
dope.
Cool J.
Yeah.
He's, he invented the term GOAT. He's been doing it. He's one of the few people that's been doing it longer than me and Chop. I think the album he made with Q-Tip, The Force, was just incredible. I loved it so much. I love how he quietly supports legends through Rock the Bells. He has Grandmaster Caz and and Roxanne Shante on the radio and all these folks. Like, yeah, it's LL Cool J for me, 100%.
Dope. How about you, Tone?
Lord Finesse, he's still around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he's older, just like I am, and I know he's still dope because I heard, on the DITC albums, he had a verse or two here and there. Diamond D, anybody, AG, Ransom, RJ Payne, uh, Joel Ortiz. I mean, like, there's a bunch. Like I said, I like a lot of rappers. Benny the Butcher. We already got a joint with Conway, but Benny the Butcher.
Yeah.
Um,
Any of those, I think, would work well with you guys. Yeah.
Terminology is dope. I met him in person, and he did a show out here. He's a cool cat.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of rappers, man. So I mean, I'm always open. You know
Right
what I
on.
mean? But like I said, I'm a fan first. But yeah, Lord Finesse for sure, man.
Number one pick. Yeah.
He was talking about an album, not too many months back. So hopefully he still puts it out. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I'm a fan, man.
Hell
So
yeah.
I like a lot of dudes. You know what I'm saying? So Ransom though, Ransom is probably like
Always sharp.
I was telling people about Ransom years ago from DJ Clue and all that. Like people can't tell me nothing about Ransom. I've always spoke about Ransom way before he got with Nicholas Craven and all that. Like way before that.
The A-Team days.
Yeah. Ransom has always been elite, bro. Like super elite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And RJ Payne too. Before he was RJ Payne, I was on top of, all of his stuff back. Rain Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, like I said, I was on the mixtape. I was like going to Philly mixtapes, going to New York mixtapes. Like, you know what I'm saying? I still got tons of mixtapes from back then. I
Damn.
used to go to New York like every couple weeks. I used to go to New York City, Fat Beats. I've been to Fat Beats many times. Met a lot of dope people there. Cormega, Vinny Paz, Jedi Mind Tricks, Talib Kweli.
Sick. Yeah.
A lot of dope people. Met Eclipse at Fat Beats a bunch of times too before we even got music played by him too. He didn't even know I was a rapper back then. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Damn. Any last let's say the date for the album one more time, and any plans for shows or tour that we can plug? What should people be watching for?
So let me get my promo list off here.
Sure.
May 15th, we drop the album Beautiful Foundations, available digital, vinyl, and CD. Please support that if you're fans of us. It means the world to us. We have a documentary dropping on May 20th, which accompanies the album, tells our story our way. And we have a album release party, vinyl listening party at Stellar Human in Binghamton on May 30th. So come, if you're in the region, come through and kick it with us, cop the vinyl, take a pic or two, and celebrate the release with us. We appreciate the support tremendously.
Beautiful. You guys are easy to find on social media, right? Where are you most active on social media?
I'm only on Instagram at frost.gamble.
There you go.
Tone Chop is Tone Chop every place.
Right on. Well, thanks, guys. This was fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having Cautionary Tales, and I missed my bus visible in the background. I appreciate you. Good looking out, and again, Doobyis, thank you for what you do. Like we if it wasn't for DJs, and I know you consider yourself like a presenter or whatever more than a DJ, but
I mean, at this point, I have to wear the hat. I have a mix show. I'm a DJ, but I'm not a DJ like those DJs over there that are real good with their hand styles, you know?
I mean this. I mean this sincerely. If it wasn't for you, and there aren't many folks like you, we wouldn't be doing this anymore. Like DJs, underground hip hop DJs are the lifeblood of this. They're the backbone of the culture. They're the ones who invest their time and energy into sharing the actual dope shit rather than just pay to play industry nonsense. So I'm so grateful for what you do. You and a few, the small minority of folks who are like you are the reason that we have any audience at all. So thank you.
Hey, that's huge to hear. Thank you for saying that.
And you know, I want to apologize if I'm rambling sometimes, but it's just the passion in me. I can't help it.
No,
You know, like this has been my biggest passion since I was like 12 years old. So like, you know, just to like still be doing it at this level at this time and still growing as well too, like because you know the audience and stuff keeps getting bigger and bigger, you know. So, but yes, it's guys like you that you know that keep us doing what we're doing, and that's why Thank You DJs is there, because you know that's you know that song is very important, and it was important to mention you in there too, and that's why you got a shout out.
hey,
We appreciate you, man.
much respect. It's
Don't be surprised if you hear a joint too with a Doobyis bar in there. Not you know,
I'll be
not in
paying
a bad
attention.
way though.
I'll be paying attention.
Not in a bad way, but you know what I'm saying, like, but you know what I mean, like as a salute, because you know what I'm saying, like we appreciate you, man. For
Hey,
real.
I appreciate you guys coming on to ramble and rant with me. I know, you know, some people have told me like, oh, you should edit the interviews down shorter or whatever. But like you said, I'm here because this music is my passion. I want to actually talk about it. I enjoy the entire conversation, whether, you know, hearing old stories, hearing new opinions, whatever it is. That's why I'm here. And, you know, I think anybody watching this show is here for that same thing. So, yeah, big ups to you guys for coming on and spending the time to talk with me.
Much respect.
Absolutely, man.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much.
Catch you guys next time. Anytime you want to come back on the show, let me know. Anytime, you know, you've got new music coming out, keep sending it over. I'll keep playing it. Hell yeah.
Thank you very much.
I know I said I don't like email, but we should probably get one in at some point too, Doobyis.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it for sure, man. I would love to. It's been great talking with you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
All right, peace.
All right, nope. Now I got both of them. Okay. All right, there we are. Okay, so plenty of interviews coming up. Booked until the end of June. I do a weekly interview every Tuesday here on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate you. You know, like, comment, share, all that stuff goes a long ways to help boost the show and push it to new people. But come by Tuesdays on Twitch if you want to join in the live chat. Say hi, ask a question, whatever's clever. I appreciate everybody who's here hanging out right now. And next week, May 12th, I'm talking to OP Yeti. He's very dope. He has a new album coming out. Great lyricist. You know, very dense lyrical content from OP Yeti. He's I don't know if I just said where he's from. West Coast based guy. May 12th, I'm talking to him. May 19th, over to Calgary, I talked to Half Cut and Cole the God. They had an album last year called The Relentless 2, and they're touring with it. They're coming soon to Lethbridge. I think it was June 3rd. They announced a show here in Lethbridge, so I'll get to get out and slap hands with them then, but I'll link up and talk to them for a bit prior to that on May 19th. May 26th, I'm talking to another Calgary-based group, Cold Camp. That's the Dirty Sample and Shaka Boy and their crew. June 2nd, we're going north up to Edmonton. Deuce Fantastic. He has a project that's fresh out. I think it's called like Volume 3 The Past. Maybe it's Volume 2 The Past. I'd have to look it up again, but shouts to Deuce Fantastic. He's dope. I've talked to him before on the show, and I'm looking forward to talking to him again. Ghost Boy RJ is a Toronto-based artist who's been making a lot of motion. June 9th, I talked to him here on twitch.tv/Doobyis. June 16th, it's Meyer Clarity and Fresh Kills to talk about their new album, OCDC. June 12th, Def 3 is back on the show to tell me how his endeavors with blending boom bap and EDM have been going. It looks like it's been going well from what I've seen of his tour footage and everything recently. And then June 30th, the last one before I go on break for 2 months through July and August. June 30th, I talked to Cape Blitz, and he's a Edmonton-based artist who has a new album called Playlist that he's been dropping singles for coming up. And then after that, 2 months off to go relax someplace, and I am back in September with more interviews every Tuesday. Those ones aren't booked yet, but I got a list of people who I got to get in contact with over the summer who say they would like to talk in the fall. So I'm sure I will have no trouble booking up for all of September, November, December. September, October, November, December. Skipped one. And sometimes I pull the plug early in December. We'll see how things go, but I'll definitely be back for at least 3 months in the fall. Appreciate everybody stopping by, hanging out, come through here. Thursdays is normally when I'm DJing for After the Smoke is Clear. You can find the After the Smoke is Clear archives over at mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Fridays is when I'm listening to new music. I do what I call @sick radar. It's normally 5 to 10 hours worth of new independent Canadian hip hop that I am picking through, finding what I like and buying to play on the show. And yeah, always live other afternoons. Sometimes I'm working on music here at the home studio. Whatever. You never know what you'll find if you come by for a live stream over on Twitch. Appreciate y'all, and I will catch you on the next one.